Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to New Music Finds episode number 48. So this is where I like to collect together all the new music that I've purchased over the past week and present it to you. And I get it from different places like my local record stores. I actually went to 2 different ones this past week. I also get it from online retailers like Amazon, eBay, and more. And for this past week, I have 17 new music finds to go through with you. 14 CDs and 3 records. But before we dive into all of that, if you're new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with New Music Finds, episode number 48. And so we're back to getting new releases coming out, so I can actually do what we used to do, which is start with new releases. And so kicking things off here, we've got 2 brand new releases that just came out on January 14th, this past Friday. First one was a major one for me, Tony Martin, Thorns. So 3rd solo album, and former Black Sabbath singer. That's why I'm so excited about it. And this thing here is really good. It's been 17 years since his last solo album. He's done a lot of other projects in between there, but this one here is a great return to form. It just fills that void that I've been missing from having new Tony Martin, but also new Black Sabbath. If you like the 80s and early 90s era Black Sabbath that featured Tony Martin, this album is totally worth checking out. I have done a full review of that album. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for it. Okay, next new one, Magnum, The Monster Roars. Another really good one here. Some people commented about the album cover, but this is a throwback. They've used this sort of monster-esque type character before, usually in drawing format and stuff, but this one here is more realistically done. They've got the old school logo, which is pretty cool on it, so I do like that. Although, you know, I looked at some of this inner art and stuff, and I would have kind of liked that maybe more than this, but, you know, maybe it was just for that idea of the grotesque. It gets us talking about it, right? And that's always a good thing. It's the 22nd studio album from these guys. Really good stuff. Definitely, again, worth checking out. Now, the thing that I really love is when I hit my record stores. And so I went to Academy Records here in Manhattan. Love that place. 4 CDs, 3 records, 7 items out of that store. You know, every time I go, you think, I'm not going to find anything. There's just nothing left. I've got over 11,000 CDs, and yet I managed to walk out with stuff. So first thing I found was this. Lee Michaels collection. It's on Rhino Records. Didn't know anything about the guy, but because of the label, and this is what I always recommend to you guys. You know, I'm in there, everyone's got smartphones. If you see something like this and you kind of go, I wonder what that is. Wait a minute, it's on Rhino Records. Why would Rhino put a compilation together for this person? I Google these things, I look it up, then I jump on Apple Music, which I have a streaming subscription. I listen to stuff, and you know what? It was really good. So I picked it up. It was a nice find like that. Another one that I wasn't planning on picking up, but I found, The Turtles, 20 Greatest Hits. This one here, another Rhino Records, old Rhino Records, 1984 logo there on that. Of course, they're known for the song Happy Together, which was their thing. But listening to the rest of it, you know, they had a real kind of garage rock feel to them that I didn't know because I only knew that one song. So that was a cool find. I'm planning on checking out some more Turtles stuff and getting some albums as I come across them. Then I found this. I'm fan of Traffic and Steve Winwood, you can see behind me, but I didn't own any, well, not any, I didn't own their earlier stuff. And so this album here, the self-titled 1967 one here, it's the reissue, so it's got a bunch of bonus tracks on it, which is cool. 6 of them. Of course, like I said, so I knew Steve Winwood, and I always forget that Dave Mason was in Traffic, and I never really kind of knew that because I just knew him as a solo artist. And so I've been picking up some Dave Mason stuff, and I'll reference that again in a little bit, but I wanted to point that out, that I did know he was from Traffic, just one of those things that's kind of out of sight, out of mind sort of thing. Great album though, 1967, of course has Dear Mr. Fantasy on it, which is you know, arguably one of their biggest hits right there. And this was really cool too. Bob Dylan compilation revisited the remasters. 2003 this came out. It's a promo only release, and it is one of the I think it's the SACD, it's a DSD, it's got, you know, the special audio. You can see the type of logo there in the corner. The other thing is it's actually a gold disc, right? So that's kind of cool. But the thing is, it's the tracks that are on this are not the standard hits, not the stuff you would expect, and so that in and of itself made it really worthwhile to me. Wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I like the selection that they picked for it, and I wish bands would do more of these deep album cut collections. Queen did it. I think it was called Deep Cuts, and they did 3 volumes, and it was the stuff that was like secondary, tertiary hits, and just good deep album cuts on this thing. I wish more bands would do it. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll start to see stuff like that. All right, so then I picked up 3 records from there, and I found this one, Ellen Foley. And you can see I've got her other solo album from Wounded Bird on CD, Night Out, but this one here, Another Breath, 1983. Really, really good. Looking for it on CD. Hopefully I'll find that one soon. Then I also picked this one up, Randy Bachman, Axe, 1970. Instrumental album, and we've been having a debate on, through the comments. A lot of you guys are trying to answer the question, what was the first rock instrumental album? And I haven't Googled it yet. I'll get around to that. But right now it seems like Randy Bachman, Axe, 1970. A lot of people keep suggesting Jeff Beck. His early albums all had vocals on it. It wasn't until 1975, Blow by Blow, that he did an instrumental album. So right now, Randy Bachman, Axe, in the running for first rock instrumental album. We'll see. Next up was a really cool find for me. Mobie Grape Jam 1968 album. This was part of a 2 album set. Came with Wow, which was a studio album, and packaged with it in a separate sleeve, just like this, Grape Jam. So that's what this is. This is the separate version of it. They didn't have the other one. It was $12, so I picked it up. It is the Columbia Records one, and it is on Sunday, so I'm not sure exactly what that means on here. There's no dates on it, if it's a reissue by Sundays through Columbia, but I'm going to look into it. But either way, very cool to get that. I have a CD version of Wow with Grape Jam, but they edited Grape Jam. It's not the full thing. The vinyl here is that now, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so then I made a trip to another record store. After I had such good finds at Academy, I was just in this mood for going to record stores and digging up stuff. And so I hit Book Off. It's in Midtown Manhattan. It's very unassuming. You walk in, it's all toys and games and musical instruments and electronics and DVDs and books, stuff you wouldn't expect. But if you go all the way to the back, it's got walls of CDs like what you see behind me there, but just endless. And so I found some cool stuff. The City, now that everything's been said, 1968 release. I'll be honest, I didn't know Carole King was in this. I recognized this album cover, having seen it everywhere, and I finally decided to stream it while I was in there and do a little reading on it, and found out it's got Carole King, but it wasn't Carole King that made me buy it. It was Danny Kortchmar, the guitar player. I've got a solo album of his, and I like his work, and I've seen him as a session musician doing a lot of things. And then I found this, Gene Clark, first album that he did. It was just a self-titled release, 1967, former Bird, going solo here, and debut solo album, and I really like this. I'm not sure what the rest of his stuff sounds like, but have enjoyed this one here. Then I found this, and this was my big find from Book Off, Frost, Through the Eyes of Love, 1970, and what I didn't know, you can read it there, it's got Dick Wagner, guitarist and vocalist in the band. And so I saw that and I said, wait a minute, is that the same guy from Alice Cooper? That's the biggest place that I knew him from. But he's also played with Lou Reed, Peter Gabriel, and a whole host of others. So finding that was really cool in a 1970 album. And even though I've kind of moved on and I'm into hard rock and metal again and stuff, I'm still on that tail end of my 60s kick and enjoying it and collecting stuff, because these things go in cycles, and I'll be back into a 60s kick. I'll be back into glam. I'll be back into any number of things that I listen to at different times. So I still buy it even when I've moved on from it, to continue to build the collection, because when that time comes, I can pull it all out. All right, so these were cool. 2 albums from a group called Japan. Never really knew much about these guys. They started off apparently as a glam rock band in the 70s, 1974, later developed into new wave. Picked up the 3rd and 5th studio album by these guys. If you like new wave era, you know, Depeche Mode, Cure, that sort of stuff, these guys are right in line with that, and it just clicked with me. So again, having a streaming service, so I buy CDs, I buy the physical, but I also stream. And the biggest reason I like to stream is I can check out when I'm in the stores, I can listen to stuff and decide if I want to buy it. And I would always recommend that to you guys as well. Listen to stuff before you buy it, know what you're getting. All right, so we talked about Traffic earlier, mentioned Dave Mason. That's because I found a Dave Mason Very Best of 1978 release, 10-track compilation. So of course he was part of Traffic, but he would later go on to play with Fleetwood Mac. And interestingly, that's where I knew him first. Fleetwood Mac. Then I was like, oh, who is this guy? He's got solo stuff. Later on, I found out he was in Traffic. But, you know, that just goes with the times. Yeah, I think that the Fleetwood Mac album was called Time, 1995. That's where I knew him from. So now, if you've watched a lot of my Music News Roundup or New Music Find shows, and of course that too, you're going to know that I had this. I purchased this one relatively a few months back, I think it was. And so a Dave Mason Best Of. Now, between this one and this new one, there's only 2 tracks that repeat on here. So I did check that before buying it to make sure it was worthwhile. And I like both of them. They both have a unique feel to them and a little different material and so forth. Now this next one you probably wouldn't expect me to buy, but I do love this album, guilty pleasure and all. Phillips, sorry, The World from the Side of the Moon, 2012 album release. Guy was, of course, an American Idol winner. That's why I kind of chuckle with it, but he's a great artist. Wrote or co-wrote a lot of the songs that are on there. The big hits he did not write, Home and Gone, Gone, Gone. Those are the 2 songs that I know. They've got a folk influence flair to them. Of course, they're done more in the pop style, but it works. And the album is great. It's got a little bit of a country flair to it as well. So when I get on that vein of wanting some country rock, folk type stuff, I'm going to be pulling this one out. I've been streaming it for a long time, just hadn't owned it, found an inexpensive copy and picked it up. And the final one, Robert Palmer, Don't Explain, 10th studio album, one I've been looking for a long time. So this one had the track that I love, and it's not on any compilations, called You're Amazing. What I didn't know is, or forgot, Steve Stevens is his guitar player on this thing, and he shreds throughout this thing. So if you're a fan of Steve Stevens like me and you want some more, pick this up, listen to the first 4 tracks on here. It's going to blow your mind, the guitar playing that he does on it. The album ventures into some other territories and it might not be your cup of tea, but it's good. And so there you go. 17 different new pieces of music there, 14 CDs, 3 records. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I did do some experience videos and record store find videos and stuff related to all this. I'm going to leave those in the links below if you want to check that out. But this gathers it all up for you. Nice one place, making it all easy. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, have a great day, and I'll be talking to you real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.